Capricorn, welcome to your post-Saturn-Pluto conjunction astrological and intuitive reading report. My name is Dee, and I'm coming from CatalystEnergies to you to report on how this Saturn-Pluto conjunction is meant to be interacted with and integrated now that this great conjunction has happened. And we spent so much time leading up to this point, and now that we've gotten here and we're starting to move past it, and Saturn is literally moving past Pluto now to really bring this transformation into its material form, I feel that we can start to understand how this transformation has affected us and also what to do moving beyond this point. There's been so much energy leading up to this point that I think it's worth addressing how the transformation has impacted each of us based on our astrological sign and where it might be happening in our chart, and how to harness it in the best way possible to move forward. It's been transformational. It's been devastating for some people. It certainly has been disruptive, and you can see that on so many different levels, internally and in our communities and also out on the global stage. So Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising, this conjunction has happened in your first house, and the stellium in Capricorn, meaning 3 or more planets in a sign, is also in your first house of who you are, the essence of who you are, the seed point of your personality, and how also the world sees you. It is the it is the ego that is associated with your personality, how you walk through, the personality you carry with you through the world, and what you interact with throughout your process of your life and the process of individuation that is the houses of the zodiac. So not only did Saturn and Pluto conjunct in your first house, before that happened, Mercury, the messenger, also conjunct Saturn and Pluto right before they came together, just hours before they came together. And so there was an opportunity and a point where messages were coming in very clearly into into our minds that were filtering our perception about how this point would impact us in our lives. And then right after that, which today, as a matter of fact, yesterday and today, the Sun is now lining up with Saturn and Pluto. So not only have we gotten messages on one side in a mental idea sort of way, now the Sun, which is the center of our solar system, and it represents our higher self, you know, the person that we are striving to be, the highest version of ourselves, collectively and also individually, is also lining up with Saturn and Pluto. So it's illuminating this transformational shift. It's highlighting it. It's shining light on it, and in some ways is providing us with a glimpse of how this transformation is ultimately useful for materializing our highest selves. So Capricorn, Sun and Moon, Rising, if you have these points, you are well aware at this point, if you're watching an astrology video, that Capricorn is about materialism. It's about creating materialism. It's about long-term structures. It is about the bottom line. It is about corporations and business and institutions. It is about the structures that last beyond just one lifetime and are able to stand the test of time. You know, Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, which is the lord of time. It is the boundary of 3D reality. And as long as we're here in 3D, time is very much real. It is something that is almost the center point of how we exist in 3D. Now, when we get outside of 3 dimensions, then time has a different connotation, it has a different role, it's perceived differently, and it acts differently. But as of now, when we get to Capricorn, we are very much talking about time, we're talking about structure, and we're talking about physical boundaries that we cannot cross. And Capricorn is very much interested in meeting that bottom line no matter what, and it's very serious and is very paternal and has really no care necessarily for how anybody feels about it, what you think about it. It's really about initiating that ambition and that drive in order to create something very material. So this conjunction and all of the stellium in Capricorn is happening in your first house, which I said is about who you are, how the world sees you, the basis of your personality. And so I want to pull these cards. I pulled these cards here, and I want to address how this conjunction has potentially impacted you and how you can utilize it moving forward. Now, there's some other astrological configurations that are worth noting, especially because we have the moon in Virgo right now, and in your ninth house of understanding, of truth, of the big picture. It's about foreign travel and higher education, because it's really about looking at the bigger picture as opposed to the details of your life on the daily. It's the larger perspective. And with the moon in Virgo, we are emotionally drawn inwards to analyze how we feel, look at the details of our emotions, of our feelings, and put them in their right place, and cultivate that inner knowing by making sure that we've analyzed all of the data coming in. And because it's the moon, it's very much about how we feel, it's about our instincts, it's about our subconscious. And so this is trining, the moon is trining Capricorn right now. And so all these points in Capricorn have been trined, making a 120-degree angle with the moon over the last 2 days. And in your ninth house, this has allowed you to have a perspective on how it has allowed you to analyze your feelings, analyze your instinctual knowing, your subconscious, your intuitions, not necessarily what's going on in your mind, but how you're feeling about things, and how that relates to your larger understanding of truth, of what you believe. It's very much about alchemy and synthesis. It's understanding. The ninth house is like the thesis itself. It is taking all of the information. And so with the moon in Virgo, we're analyzing all the data, and that's really feeding into your understanding of the big picture. And this big picture has a lot to do with who you are as a person. And so we're going to read from the Akashic Tarot to get some clear understanding. Now, the moon, Venus today is also moved into Pisces, which is your third house of communication. And that means communication going out, how you're speaking, the thoughts that you are expressing, and communication coming in. What kind of thoughts are you allowing to come in and to influence you? What kind of information are you bringing into your awareness? And what story are you telling, not just yourself, but the people around you, about your life? And Venus moving into Pisces in this place is very inspiring. It's very much the muse to create something beautiful and to create something harmonious. And to move into your third house, this is bringing an opportunity to be inspired to create based on a new perception of your mind. What you're thinking, what thoughts you're allowing in, and what communications are you putting out there. This is a very creative, beautiful aspect, Venus coming into Pisces, an opportunity for love in a new way. And this has a lot to do with the way that your mind works, the communication that's going in and coming out. And this is going to helpfully influence the way that the Saturn and Pluto conjunction has transformed essentially who you are. So the energy coming into this situation for you is the Two of Keys, and it's actually reversed. And so I am going to post a picture of the spread in the comments below so that you're able to look at the spread as you're listening if you want to go back and review. But it is reversed. So the energy coming into the situation, when you have the Two of Keys, you have this image where a person's room has been ransacked. It's been overturned looking for something valuable. And the person in the center here is absolutely distraught and pretty shocked. And what he's not seeing, this person is not seeing, is that there is this light here that is in the background, kind of over his head. The treasure that was being sought after is not something that you're going to find necessarily in the material realm, which is interesting for you because being a Capricorn, that is certainly where you are identifying who you are, is in the material realm. Your ability to be a boss, essentially, you know, to have complete control over the resources and the materials of your life. The energy coming into this situation, having this reverse, suggests to me that you are really looking for that treasure and maybe not finding it, and feeling a little lost and feeling a little distraught, and like your whole life has been ransacked in some way. But I will say that the real treasure is the light within, and you're not going to find that in any material possessions. So this is the energy coming into this situation. What is the energy right now? What is the present moment bringing? Oh, wonderful. The Muse, which is what we just talked about with Venus and Pisces. This is number 15. The Muse is the creative inspiration. It is a muse in mythology is some sort of deity or immortal magical being that inspires creativity, inspires a new idea, inspires art and beauty. And so what's going on right now for you, as the Saturn and Pluto conjunction has made massive shifts in who you, how you identify yourself. This Venus going into Pisces right now, this is very creative and is very inspiring for you. So what's going on in your conscious awareness? Now this is kind of in, like, the present moment is in the heart space. It is what's going on right now in real time for you. And a lot of times that's what's going on for us here, is in the heart, how we feel about something. So what's going on up here? What are we consciously aware of? Where is our focus? What do we know, either intuitively or actively? You know, what is up in these upper chakras? The views of the ego. This is the Four of Roses. The roses is the water element, about emotions and spirituality. And it's interesting, views of the ego. I think the potential to be very impacted emotionally by the shift in your actual personality, how you view yourself, how others view you, especially as a Capricorn, not feeling in control and not feeling like you are completely capable on your own of creating something very strong and material. I think having that disrupted could obviously have an impact emotionally on the way that you view yourself. And, you know, the ego is something that is important. It is part of survival in human physical form. It is our personality. The ego is our personality. It's the part of our psyche that directs, you know, most of our outward behavior on a regular basis. And I think what's happening, what you're aware of right now, is this reconfiguring of who you are emotionally. And it could be something that you're really struggling with emotionally, because you are seeing, you know, this person in this card is seeing themselves in the mirror, and Saturn and Pluto coming together. You know, Pluto's been a slow burn now for about 12 years, and Saturn finally coming along and solidifying that. That is, you know, that is definitely a moment of seeing yourself in the mirror and having to contend with who you are and how that impacts you emotionally and how that impacts your ego emotionally. So what's going on underneath the surface? Where are we energetically rooted as a Capricorn? Where are you energetically rooted? What's in the subconscious? What are we not really aware of that's running in the background or rooting us energetically, but not something that we're consciously aware of? And that is now number 16. So remember, number 15 was the Muse, and that's the present situation. This is 16, Caught in the Ruins. This is a fascinating card because this is two people that seemingly look trapped They are in the ruins of an old structure, and they seem to be behind bars, but easily could climb out of there if they realized that they had the opportunity to do so. But they do feel trapped. I think that it seems to me that Capricorns still are feeling like what's rooting them down is that they do feel trapped, and that they do feel, you as a Capricorn, feeling as if you can't get out of some sort of self-imposed prison. And that is the trick, right? That it is self-imposed, or is something that's old. You know, the ruins suggest that it is a structure that's not really functional anymore. It's something that's old and has run its course and is now kind of degrading, right? And this seems to be the case for a lot of us. But for Capricorns, you guys, again, everything is being restructured around how you see yourself, how you are in the world. And where you're rooted is a self-imposed trap that you don't think you can really get out of. Especially since you're feeling so inspired right now in this moment. Venus giving you, Venus in Pisces, really inspiring a new way of conceptualizing your relationships, your projects, your resources, how you love. And Venus in Pisces is all about love, and it's giving you a lot of inspiration right now. But where you're rooted and where the struggle seems to be coming from is this self-imposed prison about who you think you should be, who you think you are. There's a lot of should energy that is where this energetic alignment is. And with the Four of Roses kind of in the conscious awareness, you're really looking at yourself in the mirror, and it's emotional. It is definitely making you feel some feels, and you might feel trapped in this prison, but it's not something that is you are actually trapped in. These people in here don't realize they can just like climb up and out. You know, they've just been in there for so long, and it's so old that is really rooting you down. So what is the effect of all of these things coming together? So there are two cards here. So the first is, oh, that's fascinating. So they're both about bifurcation and the balance of duality. So the first one is Five of Forces, and the forces are creative fire energy, and you have the summer and then the winter, and so this is upright, so it's saying that this is a cycle of intense growth for you. You know, the summertime is when the flowers are growing, when the plant is growing, when it's really in its fullness in terms of a plant cycle, and this is really what to expect from this situation. And then you have the Seven of Forces, which is reversed. So same suit, we're looking at creation, inspiration, the spiritual nature, natural forces. Having it reversed like this in this position, especially with the Five of Forces being upright, I am very much reading that it is time to find a balance, and that it's more of a balance from within that you are looking for, and you will find it. It will come. And this Five of Forces is really suggesting that it's time to shift your perspective, to see the growth that you have here, the potential for growth that you have here, and that the balance is coming, and maybe it's a balance that needs to happen within. Sometimes when we have reversals, it's not necessarily a negative thing. It could just mean that the energy is meant to be fixated within, as opposed to on the outside or in outside circumstances. So I'm going to pull some animal cards for you, Capricorn, just to give you some guidance. I think it's really important these days that we deepen our relationship to the animals and to the plants, because they are our brothers and sisters on this planet, and we share it with them. And so I like getting these messages, these animal messages. So there's two of them that came out for you. The Snow Leopard. Take some time out of your usual life and spend it in solitude. So a lot of cats are solitary creatures. They're not like dogs or canines where they roam in packs. They're very solitary, and they're predatory, and they have a territory. And the snow leopard especially, like, you won't find a snow leopard unless you're really looking for them. They don't make themselves known. And so maybe what is in store for you right now is to take some time to step back and give yourself an opportunity to be creatively inspired, to recalibrate how you conceptualize the life around you based on the thoughts that are coming in, the thoughts that are going out, the way you communicate about your conception of reality. I think that the best thing to do, especially a Capricorn rising sun and moon, you're definitely out in the forefront, on, you know, you're very boss-like, you know, and so it's just constantly going and going, and that means showing up for things all the time and being the one that's holding it down. It's not that you can't hold it down. The snow leopard gets their needs met, but at the same time, it's very important that maybe you take some time for yourself and really get clear on what's going on internally, because I think that there's a big shake-up here with who you are, obviously, who you are, and your role within the collective, and how everybody else sees you as well. And then here we got the Tortoise. You're too fragmented, so do whatever it takes to get grounded. Again, the fragmentation definitely seems to come from this, now that I'm seeing this balance card reversed, and the Five of Forces showing the fragmentation. There is growth here. There's so much potential for growth, and that is what to expect. But I think it's really important that you take some time out to really let this shift sink in and to be inspired by it in order to develop a whole new frame of reference for how you see love, how you see your relationships. You know, Venus is all about relationships, how you see your material resources, the things in your life that bring you balance and harmony. Venus is all about the physical manifestation of what makes us feel good, what gives us support, what appeals to our senses. And I think that Capricorns have definitely felt a lot because over the last month, definitely, and this conjunction has really brought a lot up to the surface about who you are. And that can be very jarring. That can be ego dissolving, in fact. And that is not a fun time. Absolutely not. So Capricorn, I'm going to leave it at that. Check out the description box below if you're interested in reaching out to me on any other platforms. You can email me. I'm very active on Facebook. All of my services and an online booking option for readings and Reiki are on my Facebook page. And if you're interested in a reading, you can reach out, and I have a lot of different options that can accommodate a lot of different financial situations. And remember that it's all within you. And that any limits that you're feeling, any place that you're feeling trapped, you always have a choice to look at the situation differently, focus your attention on the things that matter, and to find balance. And I think a lot of that is going to, you are fragmented. I think that this conjunction was very disruptive for Capricorns, and I think it's been a really hard road for Capricorns with this stellium for sure. But the moon is very supportive right now. Venus in Pisces is very supportive right now, and so tapping into that, I think, is really going to be your best bet. So Capricorn, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here, and take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.